All right. We are going black screen because, hey, I'm just not good yet at setting up the whole streaming deal. But I did want to come on here real quick because I wanted to talk more about cyberbullying, harassment, and bring awareness to that because I've just been just surfing this internet. INNERNET, spelled purposefully. However, I have been surfing this internet, and it has come to my attention that there are many people that don't realize, first of all, what harassment is, what cyberbullying is, doxing, all of these things that are not so new to the community. However, um, they are newer in forms, in terms of laws and that sort of thing. So, we are going to be discussing just a little bit quickly. I do not plan to take up a lot of your time, but we're just going to be discussing cyberbullying, harassment. We're going to be focusing on the behaviors rather than individuals involved. So I want to be very clear on that because our goal is to bring awareness to a community that has been impacted by such behaviors. And we also hope to bring awareness to people who may have knowingly or unknowingly engaged in these behaviors. So let's start with harassment and stalking just in itself. Harassment, the definition, that involves excuse me, repeated and unwanted behavior that causes distress or fear. And that includes persistent messages, emails, threatening messages or emails, or even persistent social media posts. That is considered harassment. And let's see, especially if it's online. And I guess I would, yeah, let's go ahead and just put a few general examples in there. A few general examples of that would be persistent negative comments on social media about someone. Doxing would be publishing private information that people do not know. For example, if my handle is Caribou Coffee and I have never said or referred to myself as anything other than Caribou Coffee, then to state that my real name is Robert Blakeson would be a form of doxing. Also, impersonation. People don't realize that creating fake accounts, especially to do what we call trolling someone professionally, using fake accounts to talk about someone, to damage their reputation, even if you're just angry. But the use of fake accounts is in itself illegal in that sense. Now let's talk a little bit overview of stalking. Stalking is more of a pattern of behavior that makes someone feel as if they're afraid or in danger. So it whether or not the person who is doing the patterns of behavior, let's just say that, no matter whether or not they feel that what they're doing is putting the person in danger, the person has let them know, I don't want this, that I am afraid, I do feel in danger. That is what makes it stalking. And if it's online, that is cyberstalking, which is the same thing, a pattern of behavior that makes someone feel afraid or in danger, and also includes the constant tracking of someone's online activities, sending unwanted messages, spreading false information, and the impact, whether we know it or not, the impact on people that have to deal with this, there are emotional distress, psychological distress, social withdrawal, and there are safety concerns. Whether we want to be honest about that or not, it, whether we feel that that is a real thing or not, there are safety concerns when it comes to constantly bothering someone that doesn't want to be bothered. So I would give a real life example, but not with any particular person. I actually looked this example up. So now I'm going to be reading. Hi, it's KN. Welcome. We're just talking about, if you just came in, we're just talking about cyber stalking, cyberbullying, what that is, and just making people aware that that is a crime. There's too much of this going on. People are being harmed physically, mentally, emotionally, and so I want to bring awareness that this is indeed a crime. So we're going to go to a real life example, nothing that I know of, just literally a story that I pulled off of the internet. And this says that there was one specific case and that involves a person whose real name was doxxed, despite efforts to maintain privacy using social media aliases. Here's how the situation unfolded. Privacy violation. The privacy violation was her real name was maliciously revealed online, exposing her to risk and unwanted attention. Now, did we say harm? We said it exposed her to risk and unwanted attention. The consequences of this in this case. This person received hate mail, threatening emails, including false accusations about different things in her personal life. There was escalation. The individual who initiated the harassment made degrading comments, and we could even say violent comments. It does say that in here. Further intimidating and dehumanizing the victim. So this is escalation, and the impact of that is also significant emotional and psychological distress, damaged reputation, and a compromised sense of safety in this case that I am reading from Google. Now, solutions for that, what do we do? What do we do when this happens? Because there are a lot of situations and a lot of ways that we can go about it. Of course, you can always block and mute people, report the abuse to social media platforms, document. That, for me, is the most important thing. Keep records of anything harassing, keep record of anything that was said, screenshot before people are able to delete things, and contact your authorities. Let them know, especially if there are threats that make you feel unsafe. Definitely seek legal advice for just all of your potential actions against the harassment. And it's so important to, if you don't have one, to build a network of friends, family, support groups, whatever, to help you really get through this, because that is so taxing. Now, The next thing that we want to talk about is understanding how the threats of doxing in itself is very much illegal. And I'm going to use, since I am from the state of Illinois, I am going to use that. So, what is doxing? Doxing typically involves the malicious publication of someone's personal information with the intent to harass, intimidate, or cause harm. Now, Harassment Through Electronic Communications Act. This is an act in Illinois that exists. This act makes it illegal to use electronic communications to harass or threaten someone. This includes repeated messages, threatening messages, emails, or social media posts. So, maybe they're not threatened, but if if it's clear that these are unwanted messages, to continue to discuss it, to continue to make posts, that is harassment through the Electronic Communications Act. Now, let's get to cyberstalking under Illinois law. Under Illinois law, cyberstalking is defined as using electronic information to harass or threaten someone repeatedly. Intimidation and threats. Intimidation. It is illegal to communicate threats of physical harm, criminal damage, or any other threats intended to intimidate or coerce another person. For example, if you are using social media to say, you know what, Mr. Boyfriend, I'm just really coming up with examples here. Mr. Boyfriend, I know that you are dating this other person, so you need to pick her or pick me, or XYZ is going to happen that is some type of threat. I'm going to bust your windows out. I'm going to have you arrested. I'm going to walk you like a dog. I'm going to whatever. That is intimidation. Now, the stalking and the cyber stalking laws in Illinois, they apply to any online behaviors, including repeated and unwanted contact that causes someone to fear for their safety. For example, if you are online having repeated contact or repeatedly talking about someone in their hometown, and because of what you're saying, this is causing other people who are physically in the vicinity to be around. This is definitely cyber stalking, harassment, and intimidation. Now, and it's all wrong, it's all against the law. Now, the privacy violations. Let's talk about that just for a minute. We're just going to touch on that. Non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. While specific to sexual images, the Illinois law criminalizes dissemination of private sexual images without consent. It's illegal. This is highlighting the importance, I'm guessing, of sharing private information. You weren't given that information to share. I might have my pictures of my toes all over some dating app. I'm just making this up. But I might have pictures of my toes on a dating app or something that I sent to someone. I sent them a picture of my toes, which I would never do because it's ill. But just because I sent it to them, you got a hold of it, and now you want to ask a bunch of people or someone, because it could be one person, hey, can you send these pictures of her toes out? Because, we're going to do this to embarrass her or, make fun of her, whatever it may be. That is non consensual dissemination of private images. So, the key considerations that we want to consider when we're talking about doxing. Doxing involves the intentional sharing of personal information with the purpose of causing harm, fear, or distress. That can be your first name, last name, addresses, any other personal information that you yourself have not shared with the public. Even if you are a YouTuber, since we are on this platform, as a YouTuber, if I have never spoken my real name, Princess Consuela of the Ebenezer Arts, and I say that my name is Choose Compassion, my name is Choose Compassion, and if you have not heard me say that my name is Princess Consuela, you cannot go on any other platform just outright saying, hey, this person's name who's on YouTube is Princess Consuela. You can't do that. That's doxing. The personal information, especially if there's harm, even if there's threats, if there is significant emotional distress. So, some people like to say, well, I didn't do anything to get you harmed, and I didn't mean for harm, and you know better than that. That part is irrelevant. That part is so totally irrelevant. If that person feels significant emotional distress, that is harmful. And I'm sticking to the doxing, but that's really in every area of life. If whatever you're doing to someone, if that causes significant emotional distress to them, however you feel about it is invalid because this is what they feel. And I don't mean to be harsh, but I do mean to be truthful. So, what you would do is, as I said, you document everything, you make sure everything is in order. You definitely have to make sure that you understand that stalking laws apply to both physical and electronic stalking, which is in either way a series of actions over time, such as following someone, showing up uninvited, repeated messages, repeated posting, anything that makes you fear for your safety or the safety of others, because sometimes we are worried about our family members when things like this happen, especially if we have family members that are in the vicinity of this. Now, intimidation, let's talk about that because that part is illegal as well, and we need to understand. Intimidation involves communication of threats to coerce someone into doing something against their will. I'll say that again. Intimidation involves communicating threats to coerce someone into doing something against their will. That includes threats to physical harm, so threatening to physically harm the person or their property, any type of criminal action against the victim that you may be threatening. You might even be threatening to put them in jail. If you're just doing this out of anger, if you're doing this out of trying to intimidate them, that is very much against the law. Also, economic harm. Don't let that fly by you. Intimidation. So, threatening to cause financial harm to someone. If you are online or in person and you are threatening to cause them financial harm, threatening to, I don't know, let's say put liens on any property that they own, threatening to take away their sources of income, whether that is going to the store and getting them fired as a bag uh, carrier or stock person, whether that is a YouTuber who is making money. Those are threats to cause them financial harm. You can't just willy-nilly run around the internet threatening people. It's very real. It is very real. So, lastly, what do? Document, document, document. As I said earlier, if you are a victim, and I'm just going to recap, and I don't want to say victim, if you are a survivor of any type of threats, harassment, doxing, whether that is in person, whether that is online, go back a little bit and get everything I said, but let's go to reporting and legal actions for that. Again, document everything, keep detailed records of all the communications, report everything to the authorities. File a police report with your local law enforcement. Give them all the documented evidence that you have. If you have more that comes in, keep the whatever kind of little card they give you with the case number. Bring that up there, fax it, email to them. Make sure every new thing you give to them. I know this from experience. We're going to go into this when I understand how to stream better so that I can show you the court documents of things that I have gone through and won so that I would not have to go through this again. You have to definitely seek legal protection, so that includes restraining orders. Definitely consider obtaining some type of restraining order or order of protection. Making sure that law enforcement investigates that, and based on that, the person that's doing that could be charged with a number of things. Let me see. I believe that pretty much covers it, but legal aid. If you don't have money for a lawyer, there's always legal aid somewhere to help, and they specialize. There's always legal aid that actually specializes in cyber law. Reach out to support groups, someone that you know, anyone undergoing some type of trauma. It's always a good. I don't want to say always. Sometimes it's a good idea to get around others who are going through some of the same things, even if it's not the same. But ultimately, I wanted everyone who graciously came here and will come in the future to understand that there are laws that can help survivors of online harassment and intimidation take appropriate legal action and seek protection. I've referenced under Illinois law, but check the laws in your state. If you would like me to check on them, we can do that. But as I plan to go live more and create more videos, I will be talking about my own experiences of overcoming this type of thing and lots of others. But for that, I hope that I have said something that have resonated with you. I hope that I've said something that resonated with maybe someone you know. And as always, I'm sending you love and light.